Hey, what do you know, folks? It's me, Chaos here, once more with technically not a Let's Play, but it's still part of it. You might read the video and think, hey, let's play Dynasty Warriors 8 Extreme Legends Episode 0. This is more a kind of go over the series, because a lot of people haven't, if you haven't played Dynasty Warriors, then this is basically a small explanation of the series. Then, if you can feel free to skip it if you already play it, but this is kind of going over the history as well. And just also bear in mind, this is we're going to go up to Dynasty Warriors 8 normal, because I'm going to play Extreme Legends, and I'll say what happened then, and Empires at this point, when Extreme Legends came out, didn't exist, so I can't really comment on characters that came in the future. I'm also not going to be going over Samurai Warriors or Warriors Orochi, because they are going to have their own little thing. If I do a Warriors Orochi and Samurai Warriors game. So, yes, it is cheap. I'm doing this in Windows Media Player of all things, but this is basically gonna have. I don't own a lot of the games myself, and I can't record footage of anything that isn't Dynasty Warriors 8. So this is probably what you're going to do with. So let's begin, shall we? With where the series began, really. So let me take it back to 1997. Well, around 1997, back to the PS1 era. Now, Dynasty Warriors came out, and you might be thinking, well, it began as how it did. No, Dynasty Warriors 1 was a one-on-one fighter. It was unique for its day for being one of the first games to have a kind of historical spin and actual one-on-one fighting with weapons. And you can actually see where all the guys came from. This is actually quite neat watching this and getting all nostalgia. Okay, this game began with 16 characters. You can unlock them as you went along. You can already see it was beginning a trend, for God's sake. No one really has a faction in this. They do in theory, but then doesn't really matter. Characters you could get in this game were Guan Yu, Jiang Fei, Zhao Yun, Zhuge Liang for the Shu Han, or Shu, Cao Cao, Dian Wei, Jiahou Duan, and Zhu for Wei, Lu Juan, Sun Shangshang, Taishi Si, and Zhou Yu for Wu, and Diao Chan, Lu Bu, Nobunaga, and Tokichi for the other forces. Note that the last two are actually samurais. I don't know why they put them in. They probably didn't have enough notable characters to throw in, but still, that's beside the point. There's also only one leader mentioned. I don't know. I don't know why. They just thought these were notable ones. It's something. But yeah, this is where it all began. And for what it's worth, it hasn't held up graphically. If you like a one-on-one fighters, I've heard it's a good game. It's really fun to use, and this is basically where it set the tone for Dynasty Warriors doing its historical stuff. And I must pause here because the rest of the gameplay and I can't show you. So that's where it began. So where do we move from this? We had the one-on-one fighter, and then we get where Dynasty Warriors actually began as a proper thing. Dynasty Warriors 2. Dynasty Warriors 2 is the first game where you were fighting as an army, as the Dynasty Warriors fashion, as it were. Now, it brought the total up to 28 officers. These included Guan Yu, Huang Zhong, Jiang Wei, Liu Bei, Ma Xiao, Jiang Fei, Zhao Yun, Zhuge Liang, Shu, Cao Cao, Dian Wei, Sima Yi, Jiahou Duan, Jiahou Yan, Zhu, and Yang Yao for Wei, Gan Ning, Lu Meng, Lu Jun, Sun Jian, Sun Quan, Sun Shangjiang, Taishi and Zhou Yu for Wu, and Diao Chan, Zhang Zhuo, Lu Bu, Yan Xiao, and Zhang Liao for the others. Now, this is more a recreation from the novel Romance of the Three Kingdoms, with a few twists and turns, because you could actually technically win the Three Kingdoms as Shu, who really shouldn't win. None of these forces would win. The winner should be Sima Yi, but he didn't live to see the end of it. This is also the first game that had the actual fighting, which is really, really big this time. And you got the beginning of what the characters would look like. Hell, there's a lot of them there. This was kind of the first game of its time to actually be about fighting as an army with the spears and such. This was really good for its time. And you can already see, they already look like this should. This was brought out on the PS2. So this is the first time they actually got to use those graphics for something big. And this is practically where it all spawned from. The whole Dynasty Warriors carried on from this. It's really fun, and you get some really good designs out of it. So that's Dynasty Warriors 2. So with that, we've got Dynasty Warriors 1, where Sides of Fire, Dynasty Warriors 2, where it went on to be its a whole tactical brawler, as it were, because you can't call them strategy games. I'm sorry, they're not. There's a bit of strategy in it, but still. But then we move on to Dynasty Warriors 3. Now, I want you to bear in mind, this is just before I joined, so I can't really give you that much personal stuff on this. But they carried on the personal stories, and they actually did enjoy. They were enjoyable. This is actually one of the first games where they included the Nan Man, and they were a big thing for this set. It also gave you the other characters, the other Forces characters, as a playable story in Extreme Legends. We'll get more into that later. This game brought in Pang Tong and Wei Yan for Shu, Jiang He and Senji for Wei, Da Qiao, Huang Gai, and Suin Se and Jiao Kao for Wu. Those guys were brand new, and some of them have some really massive effects on the Three Kingdoms. Jiang He was known to lead Sima Yi's armies during the Jin era, before he died. Pang Tong, the fledgling Phoenix. Wei Yan, the Battle of Wujiang Plains, he was the guy who got told that he was a traitor. And yes, it does end that quickly, I'm sorry. But, you carry on, and you get Extreme Legends, where, yes, I'm sorry, I couldn't record much on this one. I PSG's own broken. The Extreme Legends is the first time you get to have a story as the other kingdoms. Diaoqian, Dongzhuo, Lubu, Menghuo, Yonshao, Zhangjiao, Zhurong, as it'll go over here, all had their own story, and they all had their own movesets. There were a few moveset clones past the technology today. There's also two that they don't show here: Fuji and Nuwa. Now, Fuji and Nuwa are the god and goddess of Japan. They're China rather, who started. They apparently gave them the means to hunt and to be civilized and that sort of thing. They were also in Warriors Orochi, but you know more from Warriors Orochi than you do from here. They had no story in this game. This is probably the first time you also got characters to have elephants. As bad as it sounds, it's the first game to have elephants. That was a big thing. Every Dynasty Warriors game has a big thing. Note that right now. Like Dynasty Warriors 1 big thing was that it started fighting. Dynasty Warriors 2 was it's a tactical fighter. Even though it's a bit of a shame. Dynasty Warriors 3 had the Nan Man. Dynasty Warriors 3 Extreme Legends had the other stories. So let me take you to Dynasty Warriors 4. And this is the game. I started Dynasty Warriors 3 Extreme Legends. Dynasty Warriors 4 was my first original Dynasty Warriors game. This game had a few things about it. First off, you had the ability to change officers in story, so you didn't have to be stuck with the officer you had. You could change officers. It was banned within the kingdom, and they had to take some liberties because they gave you other stories like Lubu, Yongzhuo, Yangjiao. They had their own story. Also brought in the weapon XP system, which we haven't seen since because it was dumb. But it actually made it so you had to use the officers to get the new weapons. It also brought in kind of a story where it varied depending on what you did. It also had the legend sort of thing. Tales, Gaiden, whatever you want to call it, where you did unique things to unlock officers. This game brought in Yue Ying, Sao Ren, and Zhou Tai as new officers. They were brand new, but they removed Fuji and Nuwa. But they had this is the first game that had edit mode. It also is the first game where the Extreme Legends actually had something big about it. So, getting back to that, Dynasty Warriors 4 is the first game to have the edit mode, otherwise known as Create a Warrior. I'll call it edit for the purpose of this. Where you got to make your own officers. For Extreme Legends, what did it bring in? Legend mode. You get to do one stage per officer, where you had a specific gimmick to it. And you had Extreme mode. Extreme mode is the first time they had like a survival-based game mode. You take an officer, you go through the Three Kingdoms, you get more officers, it carries on like that. It was an awesome mode they brought in. There's more than that as you go on, but this is probably the first game where they pushed the bar. Yeah. So, where did we go from 4 Extreme Legends? There's two ways they went. First, the first way they went is the first of many A game I didn't actually know existed until I got 5 Empires. May I present to you Dynasty Warriors 4 Empires opening. This is the first game where you made the story. You made what context you wanted. And it had a really awesome soundtrack. I love this opening. It also got rid of the weapon experience, but then you basically had to improve your forges to get those better weapons. So yeah, a bit of one, bit of another. You also had to make the story. If you didn't like that, you weren't gonna like Empires. If you liked the fighting, you were gonna love Empires. If you liked the story, you weren't. So yeah, you basically began the Empires sections. So you might start thinking, okay, Empires, what did that bring? Empires literally just Dynasty Warriors without context. That's literally it. It's just you make the context. However, let's move on to what I believe the majority of Dynasty Warriors fans will agree with me was the best Dynasty Warriors game. Oh yeah, you know where this one's going, don't you? So, Dynasty Warriors 5. This is probably the best of the Dynasty Warriors games. It had... Everyone I know is saying that it's an awesome game. And they all remember it fondly. So, let's begin. The new officers they brought in. Wan Ping, Guan Yu's son who died with him at Farn Castle. Xing Sai, Zhang Fei's daughter. Cao Pei, the Crown Prince of Wei who eventually became the Emperor. Pang Dai, Ma Chao's second in command, who ended up defecting, but still. Liang Tong, who is the martial artist that we know today, began the revenge thing against Gan Ning until Heifei. And Zhuo Si, the mysterious Taoist. So what did this game bring? Individual stories came back. They also brought in a bodyguard system, which was unique for its time. Dynasty Warriors 4 had bodyguards where you had like a troop, same with Dynasty Warriors 3. You could bring along several weaker officers, or in this one, you brought in one strong bodyguard who would learn, who would adapt and grow as you brought him along. They also give you benefits for it. They also give you steeds, which weren't really that useful. But still, they was useful to be speedy. This is also the game where they actually removed edit mode for normal, which was kind of a disappointment. But they really expanded the story. It was... God, I love this game. I miss this game a lot. It was so much fun. So, it also had more of a tone towards history until you got into the game itself. Like, there's more historical stuff that happens. Now, just watching that. That's where it began. That's where it went from there. I kind of didn't grab 5 Extreme Legends opening because 5 Extreme Legends it kind of embraced its over-the-topness, and it brought back edit mode in Extreme Legends. It brought in Legend mode, which was actually a number of officers per stage for another thing of a gimmick. Like one of the gimmicks was that you had 3 officers competing for a prize and that sort of thing. Extreme mode came back, you had more officers, more variation, and that's kind of where it left, and it was kind of disappointing in that regard. It was awesome. 5 is the best. And then Empires came along. Now, going on the tone of 5 being the best, for what everyone says the best, you know, you also have to bear in mind, 5 Empires had to build on this somehow, had to make an Empires edition. Dynasty Warriors 4 was the life of a country. Dynasty Warriors 5 was still the life of your kingdom. It was still what you wanted to build it as. You picked and you made your kingdom. But they kind of expanded upon what you could do with it. They made it so that you could, I'm trying to think of the best way to put it. Officers had personal skills. They like speed up, attack up, that sort of thing. You also got relationships in a minor manner. You could appoint a marshal, appoint a strategist. That was about it. They also brought in events over from the main game to happen in-game. Like, you got event battles, like you take part in the Yellow Turban Rebellion, that sort of thing. It was brilliant, it was a lot of fun. Though, for all it's worth, this is also the game where you kind of see the peak of what Dynasty Warriors was in its day. 5 is and always will be the best according to Dynasty Warriors fans. It's the best of the PS2 era, and they could only go up from here. There was one gripe I had, and it was basically you couldn't get level 4 weapons without killing 1,000 officers in one round. Now, this was too easy to do. You could literally just hold the line at a map on defensive in one simple base, and that was it. Done. They couldn't take a base without killing you. It's cheap. So, that was the last of the PS2 era. That was the end of what Koei made on PS2, and that was the best. That was awesome. That was like their farewell. And then we go down into. I don't want to admit this one exists, but Dynasty Warriors 6. Let me get two things out of the way. This was at the start of the PS3 era, where graphics meant a lot. Koei themselves said in the back of the box, you have 60 FPS martial arts, kung fu action. Yeah, it looks awesome. This game is graphically awesome today. They changed a lot of character models. There were some really good ones. I can't really show you them all, but Zhao Yun here. That's Zhao Yun. He looks awesome. You'll see Lu Bu later. He looks brilliant as well. But then you get some you don't like they really embrace the over-the-topness for Jiang He. And then Lu Jun, he looks decent. That's Diao Chan. That's the best design I've seen for Diao Chan in any of these games. And then you get the badass himself, Lu Bu. Of course, then you get into the game itself, and it wasn't good. It basically tried to go with looks over substance, style over substance. That's one. The Renbu system they brought in made it so that you went up in weapon rank by a amount of fight. So you had to stay in the fight longer to get more, if that makes sense, to be better at fighting. The only problem with this is that you could chain officers to death. Yeah. They also lowered the officer count, and bear in mind, I've gone over the officer count in Extreme Legends. If you give me a bit, 1, 2, 6, 7, 8, 35, 38, 41, 44, 47. There were 48 officers in Dynasty Warriors 5. Dynasty Warriors 6 dragged that down. Dynasty Warriors 6 took it down to, well, if you take out the characters that didn't actually have a moveset clone, they claim 41 characters, but the problem was a lot of the characters were basically clones of other characters' movesets. Like you had Guanping, Zhu Huang, and I can't remember who else it was. I think it was Lu Meng. She had the same moveset. Same with Zhou Huan, Sun Quan, Yan Xiao, and I can't remember the other one. She had the moveset. There were a lot of cloned movesets, and there were a lot of designs that just didn't work. Like they took away Sun Tzu's tonfas and gave him a spear. That's not Sun Tzu. Zhang He got a spear as well. They took away his claws. Why? It doesn't make sense. And then they had some good ideas. Like Lu Bu had the quad halberds. Those things are freaking awesome. Diao Chan got a whip, which seems weird, but still. Lu Jun got one single sword. I'm not complaining about that one. That's a good idea. Then Sun Shanshan got a bow. She's the only dedicated range character in the game who gets a story. There were some really good ideas in there. And then they bring you 6 Empires. Now, I want you to bear in mind, a lot of characters that came in during Dynasty Warriors 6 Special, which was kind of an interim. It was kind of Extreme Legends, but on PS2. It's to kind of get people over. They changed some of the movesets, like Cao Pei got one massive longsword. They gave Yang He back his claws, and took away Ma Chao's spear for a great sword. But they gave Yue Ying a awesome weapon, like a sword bow. You'll see it here, in this thing. That's Zhou Yu, by the way. That's what Zhou Yu became. And this is where it began. This moveset's good. You don't see a lot of it here because, intro. But still. And there's Sun Tzu, who... I like the design, it's just the weapon didn't work for me. Here we go. Yeah, I don't like most of those. I mean, they gave fucking Jiao Duan a club. The ball and chain Dion Wei, I like. It was awesome, it was fun. This 26 did do some good things in Empires. They brought in Meng Huo, who uses a massive pillar. I don't really the weapon, I like his back, but that's to talk about that. I wish this game didn't happen. I wish 6 didn't happen as it did. A lot of characters shared movesets, a lot of characters may as well have been the same guy. But then, I guess for what it's worth, Empires did something right because they actually started the relationships that you get from in 6 and 7. In 8 and 7 and 8, sorry, and this is Japanese, sorry about that. It did some things right. It didn't do a lot right, granted, but it did some stuff right. Now, let's go towards a better tone, shall we? Let's go into Dynasty Warriors 7. And apparently, yep, sorry, I grabbed this from someone. I'm sorry. Sorry, play scope. Hope you're happy. Anyway, so Dynasty Warriors 7 is basically Dynasty Warriors 6 embraced its over the topness with the kung fu-ness. This took it to 11. This fixed a lot of the issues that Dynasty Warriors 6 had, but the problem was the way they fixed it was have everyone linked to a weapon. You could change. They could bring two weapons into combat. You didn't have to give them, like, you didn't have to give Jagan his spear, give him a sword, but they were better off using their primary weapon. They didn't have a lot of weapons to begin with, but they built this up. I think what happens is that when they went to Dynasty Warriors 6, they got rid of the original data, think it would succeed, and then third had to rebuild it. That's a theory. A lot of the designs they have in here are really good. They're really well thought out. Of course, then you get stuff like that, which just doesn't make sense. You know, because Dynasty Warriors always makes sense. So, yeah, you might be watching this and thinking, well, you know, it's over the top. It is over the top. This is where Dynasty Warriors is kind of, you know, you lurk it a little bit. Like it a little bit. Like, lurk it a little bit? Where's that one come from? Stories were kingdom based, but it went through a set chain. The campaign was scripted as hell. I hate scripted games. This forced you to play a certain way, or you couldn't get anywhere. You had to do something. I had a glitch on my video for years, where Zuzu went below a boat. I know, it's fucking... But they actually made you change characters in the middle of combat, which is a good idea. I mean, it's good to keep swapping. So, you know, the characters went back to what they originally had, like you got Sun Tzu back his Tonthas, you got Junkie back his Claws, that sort of thing. There were a lot of good ideas. Of course, you didn't get another game. This is the first game to have the Jin story. Jin are the guys who unified the Three Kingdoms. They finished the war. So I like 7. 7's basically my favorite, and well, without fixing the weapons. But let's move on, because we have Extreme Legends of 7. Because, yeah, Japanese again. Every Dynasty Warriors game since 3 has had Extreme Legends, but it's built up. Apart from 6, but that was special to get the guys to kind of go over. So, what's this game bring? New characters. God, this game brought in new characters. It brought in Legend mode as well. This game brought in... Oh, I forgot to mention. Dynasty Warriors at normal. Dynasty Warriors 7 at normal. Brought in a lot of new officers. I can't find the exact count, but it brought in Jin, which is brand new kingdom, brand new officers for it. There's the Anshi, there's a new one, it's Madai, Bashingyan, Tsukiya's. It fixed a lot of went wrong with Dynasty Warriors 6. It also brought in a lot of new characters. Also, you're about to meet my favourite character. Well, not him, that's Pangde. Where is she? Isn't she in this intro? Okay, what Extreme Legends did well in 7 was bring in new characters, give them a story, give them a meaning. It didn't just bring in new characters arbitrarily, it gave them something. This is also a game that brought in Wang Yi. Wang Yi is my favourite character by far in Dynasty Warriors. And they all had new weapons with them. Like Pangde came back, he had the club, which no one had in normal. Wang Yi brought in Trishula, which was awesome. There's Guo Jia in the intro, who brought what may as well be a glorified snooker cue. But let's move on. We have Empires. Empires... Okay, Dynasty Warriors 7 Empires is the best of the Empires. It developed everything from Dynasty Warriors 5 and Dynasty Warriors 6 combined. You might notice, for beginning, there's kind of a big toad, and... Have I got the right video? I do have the right video. Okay. This game brought in one new character. Meet Zhu Xiu. Zhu Xiu is the guy who introduced Liu Bei to Zhuge Liang. He's also the guy who fought with TV against Xiu once, and he was never helpful again, so wait. There is a lot this game did right. It brought in stratagems. Everyone knows stratagems. They are really useful. You only have them once. It also let you choose a time period from certain scenarios all the way up to the beginning of Jin. They also brought in Eddie characters again. Eddie characters had been in 6, but they weren't that good. They were in this as well. They basically bounced off a moveset like you do with this 8. They also fixed up a lot of the issues. Like 6 had some porting issues going because they used the PS2 version and ported over. 7 basically went off the whole of. It was basically made for PS3, way from the start. It also made the relationships. You could get married. You could have a sworn siblings. You could have friends. You could have an empire. You could also step down. You could go from being a king to being nothing. If you wanted to. You also took friends with you. It was awesome. And then we get to what I think was the best of Dynasty Warriors so far. Because Dynasty Warriors 8 here built on what 7 did. It got rid of the scripted story. And then it made the story have a lot more context. You played as certain officers. It also made it so that you could change history. That's thinking. You could change history. You could, and you go through all the stories, and you got through Wu Wei, Shu, and Jin again. You also got other battles, which are like one-off battles where you can play as an officer to unlock that officer. And yes, this is about the game, so this thing took it to 11 again. Okay, what else did they bring in? Challenge mode. They also brought in switch attacks, which were things needed. Had 83 characters in the game. In Extreme Legends brought in a couple, so I don't know the count. I'm gonna count up later. And Empire's brought in a couple as well. I don't know the count exact. I'll work it out later. But yeah, this game took it to 11 again, and I will be going over the whole of Dynasty Warriors 8 because this game was so much fun for me. I want to do it again. The what ifs made this game for me. They also had an ambition mode or a free mode or whatever where you go through basically doing extreme mode again, but let's go off it. Actually, he's broke his legs. The music, oh god, the music in this game. You also got the kingdom style again, but you got the choice of officers in battle, so you weren't stuck with one. So if you didn't want to play a certain officer, you could play another one. So, this is where I leave you. This is going to be part 0, and I know it's been cheap and cheerful, so my apologies on that front, but this is basically, I'm going to be doing a Extreme Legend and Complete. I believe Steam calls it Dynasty Warriors 8 Complete. Yes, Dynasty Warriors 8 Complete. And you're going to hold that, yes you are. And now you know what I've been doing for the last few days. Dynasty Warriors 8 Complete is the PC version. It has Extreme Legends and Normal thrown in. I'm going to be going over them. This is kind of part 0. The opening to Dynasty Warriors 8 is going to be part 0.5 or something like that. And I'm going to jump into a story. I'm going to leave a straw poll up. This is going to be left up for a while. Well, actually, a straw poll's not really worth it, is it? I'll leave a straw poll up. If I see votes in it, then that's what kingdom I'll do first. I will be going historical and then doing a hypothetical route, and I will be doing Lubu's sections last because they were what brought in. They were what got brought in Extreme Legends. There's a lot in this game to go over, and there is a lot of stuff that you kind of have to pay attention to and see how it links in together. They go a lot more historical in this game, but if you've sat through to the end, folks, I thank you all for watching. I'm sorry it's been cheap and cheerful, but you know it's kind of how things are done on this channel, I suppose. This hopefully gets it across. So I'll see you next time for more Let's Plays. I'll be starting Dynasty Warriors 8 soon. There'll be more Empires content because I want to do some more stories, more ideas from that. I will be doing the complete edition of Dynasty Warriors soon. And if we're lucky, I should be able to get stuff out next week. At the earliest, because that's kind of when Empires has been finished already, so yeah, just to spoil that. You will see the ending of that, and then Dynasty Warriors 8 will start going up as it is. So, I'll see you next time for more Let's Plays, folks. Have a good day.